What up? Welcome to another exciting episode of The Real Deal. Women's History Month series continues with another great guest. Let's get it. All right, welcome to another great episode of The Real Deal, Women's History Month series conversation. I'm your host as always, Courtney Harden. Glad to be back with another Saturday edition of The Real Deal. It's raining out here in Philly, nasty here on the East Coast, but I hope everyone's enjoying their time off if they're off on the weekend. But I have another great guest. So before I bring her in, she's a returning guest, podcast family, as I call them now, when they be on the show more than once. But you can find the show on all podcast platforms, whether it's Spotify, Google Play, Apple. We're on the Roku channel, BS3 TV Roku channel. Download the app, get all of our shows from the BS3 network as well. Like I said, we got shows about a little bit of everything. We do news, sports, TV movie reviews. They got a cooking show on there. There's a lot of different things. So just check it out, bs3network.com. So again, check that out. You can follow me at Get the Real Deal on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Courtney Harden, Real Deal with Courtney Harden. We're also on Spreaker as well. So since I got all the intros out, let me bring in my special guest. She just not just, but she did just graduate from school. She was just talking about this and being a graduate now, and she moved and everything too. Janae Bradford, let's see, ABC 24 Memphis producer right now. She's in a new city. So welcome to the show, Janae. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for bringing me back. And I love this podcast family name now. I'm so glad to be a part of the family.
Oh my goodness, you are part of the family. You are podcast family now, part of the Real Deal podcast family. So I'm very excited to get you back on. So how's everything going? And happy Women's History Month to you, and not even just for this month, but and beyond. But I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad to get you on. We had a great conversation. We did the show last year, I believe, and your kind of like your introduction. You was in school and everything too, and working in school and doing everything. So, but how's everything been going so far over the past year?
Everything's been great. It's the first time in 18 years I can say I'm not a student, which is weird.
Right. Yeah.
But I love it. really enjoyed my experience at Arizona State at their Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. They really prepared me for this move and everything else in between. Now I'm in Memphis. Going back to your weather, it's a little. The sun's trying to come out. It rained yesterday too. It rains a lot here, but we're getting in that spring weather. I feel it.
Yeah.
Definitely warmer than back home, my hometown of Chicago. But
Chicago. Yeah. Yeah.
I miss the Phoenix weather.
I know. I'm sure you do miss that Phoenix weather, warm and sometimes too humid. But other than that, you said you was born in Chicago, so you know about the cold and things like that. And I'm sure it's not the best weather now there too. And yeah, here it's just raining. And like they said, it was going to be a flood watch, and it's nasty out. I was out there earlier. But yeah, it's spring. It's spring on the East Coast. It's gonna be raining quite a bit. But yeah, like I said, the last time you were just on the verge of graduating, and we were talking about that. So how does it feel now just to be a graduate and into a new city?
It it's definitely a completely different move from moving to DC to moving to Arizona and now moving to Tennessee. It's
Yeah.
definitely a different beast. No, you always like you can rely on your peers and teachers to kind of keep you No, well, and my teammates, of course. Can't forget them at DC. So now that it's pretty much just me and me only, I'm really just trying to remember everything they taught me and really just prioritize me now. Like I can
Yeah.
finally just focus on me first and then everything else is second.
Okay.
But I say that in a really good way. No, I'm at that age where, I'm an adult. Like 18 to 21, it's a fun adult, a fun young big kid. But
Yeah, big, yeah.
now I'm locking in, and I love that. I love seeing the person that I'll become in the next 5 years, and then I'll be sitting back thinking, "Wow, I remember when I moved to my first child, and now yeah." But everything is really, really great, really humbling, and I'm always excited for what's next. But I really am enjoying the present right now.
That's good. I love that, and you're right. As you get older, and you start to think like, yes, it was a fun when you're younger, and but now it's like I said, it's all about adulting. I guess yes, being an adult, and sometimes as you said, it's making moves by for yourself and things like that. So, but I'm sure you are going to do okay. I'm sure. So now that you're in Memphis and everything, tell us what it's been like. From Arizona now to Memphis. Tell us a little bit about that and talk about the new job. I know when we were talking weeks before trying to get this set up, you were like, I'm gonna have a lot to talk about. I just moved. I just, was getting started a new job, I believe, and you're starting a
Yeah.
new job. And you were like, I'll probably have some stories, so we'll get into that. But tell us how that transition went from Arizona now to Memphis.
Yeah, every move I've made was a culture shock. Even going from Chicago to DC was a culture shock. And
Right.
then obviously DC to Phoenix was a crazy one. And then kind of switching back to more of the Black culture that Memphis has. Like, I
Yeah.
love that. I love being back around my people, I can say. Yeah, Memphis is, I'm still trying to understand it, but I see its identity. I see that it has the characteristics of the South and the Midwest combined. I really love that mix.
That's good.
But it definitely, when I moved here, it hit me that, oh, this is the start of the South. And me and
Yeah.
my mom were just like, why is everyone just so polite? Like, hi, ma'am, how you doing? Holding doors, all the little things. We're like, whoa,
Right. Right.
okay,
I
okay.
get this right.
Yeah, and then from the moment we got to the rental car place, like the first time we touched down here looking for apartments, they're like, "Oh, you're from Chicago. Oh, so you know about the crime and you know how to maneuver through things." And
Mhm.
they're automatically giving me a list of where not to go. And I was
Yeah.
like, I just got here. Like I can't go
Right.
to
You're like,
already.
yeah.
But every big city has their checklist of, okay,
Yes.
don't do this here, don't do this at night, and
Right.
don't pump gas here. So I didn't let it like scare me away. But again, like I'm still, a young woman living in the city by myself. So I definitely, keep all those things in my back pocket. But when I do meet friends out here and go out with coworkers, maybe like I know they wouldn't steer me wrong. So I just got to trust my gut with those little things. But other than that, I really love that mid south blend, that mid south identity. I know once it gets warm, things are going to liven up,
Oh yeah, it's gonna be live. Yeah.
and they season their food so well here. Shout out to Memphis on that. I have not
Food scene.
had bad food really. Like it was probably like it wasn't the best, but everything has been great, 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 great. And so yeah, I moved here around MLK Day, so mid January, and they actually had snow. It does
Oh.
not snow here, and they let me know that. My mom was like driving through, and the highway, the bridge from Arkansas to Tennessee covered. I've never seen a bridge covered in snow before. Everyone's pulled over. Everyone's going 10 miles an hour for 6 inches of snow.
Yes.
I was laughing. I
Yeah. Right. Right.
but yeah, we I actually got to show my mom ABC 24 Memphis studio and station my managers are very open to just letting her see what my space would be like. No, this is my first job.
Yeah.
No, we even sat down and they were like, no, we honestly didn't interview Janae directly, but we've heard great things about her from the Cronkite School. No,
Mhm.
we're both HBCU grads, so Janae just really stuck out to us. And no, no, we expect big things out of her. And even though, like in my job description, it might say like I'm assisting the production of newscasts, they've had me leading the production of
Yeah, the
newscasts
production, right, right.
in less than a month in. And I'm now 2 months in, and I can confidently produce a show by myself. I just did it yesterday,
Yeah.
and just a typical day in a newsroom. You are going through building your show, putting the shows in order, placing where the reporters are going to be in the studio, writing the stories, and then it's going smooth and breaking news. Shooting
Hmm.
in the Walmart parking lot. And I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
I was going live at 5, and this happened at 3 o'clock. So I'm like, okay. It's not like it's 4 o'clock, like we're like crunch time, like trying to get things in. But there were just so many developing details, and this was such an active scene. So they're
Right.
like, okay, send this reporter here, send this photog here, send these people here. This is the top of the show. This is breaking news. Writing it out, putting it in all the shows, and
Mm.
checking traffic cameras because it caused a traffic jam. And I was just like, I had to step away from the desk for a second. I was like, it's okay, that's okay, that's okay, because school can teach you the little nitty gritty things, but when it really comes to like those anxiety driven moments, it's like
Right.
I don't know how they get used to it. Like you can
Mm.
see, like some, my managers and producers have said the best newsrooms are the ones where you can't even tell there's breaking news going on because it was so calm, no one's panicking, and no
Yeah.
one's panicking today, but you definitely see like people moving around trying to communicate to reporters and the
Right.
assignment desk. So it was definitely a lot of movement going on, and we had a bunch of other things shooting in the studio. So it definitely was a hectic day yesterday, but once I got in the booth, put that headset on, I was like,
You're
we're good.
locked in. Yep.
We're good. And I was nervous literally 2 seconds before I walked in, but as soon as I sat down, I was like, I can't bring that energy in here. So
Yeah.
I,
Right.
I yeah, I just gotta believe in myself. And I wrote that on my little win for the week. Like, no, you handled it. No, you thought it was gonna be crazy, but you handled the madness. You focused on things. You asked for help when you needed it, and it was a pretty solid show.
Yeah. I like that because I think a lot of people don't really understand what goes on with a news production. You know what, like behind the scenes of a lot of how it's produced. It's not just, oh, we turn the cameras and then the anchors are just telling the news. It's like, how about behind the scenes, what you do, and putting it together, putting the reels together, putting the stories together, making the anchors look good, in some way, and make sure the lights are good, and all these things that goes into a production, uh, to produce a half-hour news cast along with weather and sports.
Hmm.
So yeah, I remember when we were talking before of how it can get hours of things, and except breaking news, got to be on your toes with that. You got to be, and you just got to always be ready and things like that. So since you've done production in a couple of different states, is it the same? I'm sure it's different. Is it a little different? I mean, news is news. You say, well, there's a shooting. There's a shooting. Unfortunately, there's a shooting in almost every state. And or when you find local news, is it like different in production? Like, what's the nuances of that?
Yeah, so going back to where I learned it all, so that's Phoenix, top 10 biggest city in the
Yeah,
country.
right.
And I started as an intern just writing short little scripts. They kept me
Hmm.
away from crime, just because it was my first time even looking at a newsroom. So I was just writing like little help stories, little business stories. Sports even let me write some highlights for the Suns and Mercury. But it was definitely calmer in there. It was a
Hmm.
bigger newsroom. They also had way more shows than 24 does here. Like way more shows, like
Right,
five,
right.
6, 9, 10, 4, 5, 3. Like it, it's so many. I think we
So
have
many.
pretty much every show every time, but 7 o'clock
Right.
for prime time stuff. But um, and one thing I want to say about ABC 24 is we are not a crime heavy station. We're not going to hit you off the top with 5 different shootings. It's Memphis.
Right.
Like, we're sorry, but it just takes away from, like, I'm not going to say real work that we can do, but other impactful stories if we're just hitting you with, here's another shooting, here's another shooting, here's another shooting. Instead, we look for stories where, the mayor is meeting with people to talk about crime.
Mhm.
Mayor's proposing ideas to reduce crime, more solution-based, solution-seeking stories. And we also
Right.
want to show people like what people love about Memphis, like if people are helping each other out because they are all going through the same thing. Like we really try to not just bombard with all the things that turn people away from news. Like we always discuss the attention span of viewers, and if you got a story or video package that's over a certain time, they're changing the channel. Or
Yeah.
it's all about like true pacing, the level of content, making sure we're showing faces of people that live in the Mid South, because we cover um, Memphis, East Arkansas, and Northern Mississippi, to give like a general area. So we want to cater to all those people and show who they are and humanize them. And yeah, doing that by just showing that there's a shooting in all these places isn't really going to cut it. So I really like that. That sets us apart from the other stations in the area that you could say are like our competing stations. And our newsroom is smaller, definitely smaller compared to in Phoenix. So everyone interacts with each other. Like I have a great relationship with both of my managers, executive producers, the weather team, the sports team, all the reporters. Like we all have the directors, like they're a huge help in this. We always talk about ways we can be more creative. How can we use a different shot? Can we put a graphic in this monitor? You know, different animations. Like when you said that there's so many things that come in to creating these shows, that it is a true team effort.
Yeah.
And I appreciate how helpful everyone has been in, getting me more practice with vocalizing. Like, hey, can you like show me a shot, like in here, like just taking a director out, and how can I do something different that no one has done yet, or
Mhm.
make it my own? And all of that just comes together and really makes a good newscast. And I really like what ABC 24 is doing with trying to tell the news in a better way.
I like that. And then, like I said, I think it's if you want to know the insides of what goes on behind the scenes, you kind of made a great picture of what it really takes from a producer side of doing that. So talk about a little, like you said, you said with the Memphis news, the local news, because yeah, you're right. I think sometimes people they start to turn away from the news because of all the, especially lately. I would say even through the pandemic and even all the things that's happened during all those years. And people always say, "Well, I don't trust the news. I don't trust journalism." And it's like we still need news. News that to be has to be. They didn't know the violence and things like that. News still has to be told because you got to know what's going on in your city, your state, your country, all these things. So even if it's locally, so talk when someone does say that, like, I can't trust the news, I can't trust journalism anymore. There's so much negative news, but there's positive news too on the other side too, that that has to be told, and it's being told.
Yeah, and this is just me being a journalist. Like I honestly can't watch the news the same anymore because I'm analyzing everything
All
from a
right, right, yeah,
production element.
yes,
Being in the newsroom has allowed me to look at how other stations are covering. How is Fox doing it? How is the CBS affiliate and NBC affiliate doing it?
yeah,
And we actually sit down and watch different newscasts to see what is different, what are we doing, what are we not doing. And I challenge people to watch a different network when they want to watch a newscast. Like watch a Fox newscast one day, watch an NBC one, watch an ABC one, and you will see a difference. You will
Hmm.
see a difference because they all have their own mission statements, their own goals. Like, here the Fox station is the crime station. Here, ABC, we are not, and we say that a lot because they can handle the active crime scenes. We want to know. We want the why. We want how can we reduce the crime. We are, you know, what can things be done to fix it.
Right.
So, uh, I just really challenge people to take a step back and actually give it a shot at night. And also, if you don't trust the news, where are you getting your news from then?
Yeah. Right.
Like,
Yeah.
these
Yes.
people
Good
have
question.
all went to school to do this. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone had in the newsroom has some kind of educational experience to do this
Hmm.
professionally. Yes, social media is always in our hand, but I follow news stations on social media. Like if I don't have TV, then I'll follow the stations on my phone so I can get like the quick hits of the stories that are happening. And tap the link and now I'm on their website looking through all the stories they post. Like
Yeah.
that digital part of news is very, very, very important. So if you don't trust what you see on TV, then you must have really good media literacy when it
Yeah.
is on your phone. Because just because it's enticing and it's things are online for clickbait sometimes, that does not mean it is true journalism. And
Yeah.
so hopefully if people are not watching the news, they know the difference between real and fake when they read it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of good points there because you're right. Where are you getting your news? That would be my question. Okay, if you don't watch the news on TV, okay, you're getting it somewhere. You either, like you said, social media. I should say a lot of people have social media, so they're getting some type of form of news through social media. And as you said, you might be following the news stations on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, whatever, Facebook, whatever social media platform you use or that you like to use. You're getting it somewhere. You might newspapers just ain't news. There's still newspapers out there. You might see the newspapers, So you're on the internet. You're getting the news from some form of platform, whether it's not you might not be watching the 6 o'clock or 11 o'clock news, but you are still you're aware of what's going on. So I think you brought up a really good point with that.
Yeah, and we can listen to what our family members say and send on
Yeah,
Facebook Messenger all the time, but
yeah, that's news. So
right, it's like thanks, but come on, like take off, like ingest it, but don't spread it and just tell
yeah,
everyone this is the state of the world when it might not be.
yeah, right. Yeah, your families and friends sometimes they have their own opinions about news. It's like, can we really trust what you're saying on your Facebook group or your something like that? It's like, let's get the facts. As people that likes journalism, we love to at least hear the facts of things and say, you know what? I like you said, you could go to ABC, you can go to you have your own what you like, your ABC News, your Fox News, your CBS. You pick it if it's local or national news.
Hmm.
You can always just pick. You might, like you said, you might not want. You might say, like as a producer, you're saying I can't watch the news because of my producer hat. I'm looking at. I'm like, I don't like that production how they did that, but that's how they do it. From what you produce too. So, as a producer, take us through what a typical day is for Janae. I'm sure that's a question you're probably thinking. There's a lot of different days, but if you could pick a typical day for you, what would it be if there is one?
Okay, so my typical schedule is 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. I help produce the 9 and 10 o'clock shows. The 9 is actually on CW 30. So, two different networks, two different audiences. So 2:15, we have an editorial meeting with the content managers, station managers, producers, reporters, even the editors and photographers, sports team, everything. And everyone's giving their pitches, any story ideas. We all give our opinions on what the reporter should be doing. If there's any big events going on, should we send a reporter to it or a photographer to it? No, what kind of story are they going to give us? Is it just going to be a VOSOT, which is just them talking over a video and then a quick little interview bite and then that's it? Or are we going to do a deep dive, do a full minute, some change story, breaking down something? Um, we just analyze what everyone's role is for the day. Is we get the weather report for the day. Does weather need to be at the top of the show? Does she need more time to go over the weather? All those little things, just making getting a good understanding of what everyone will be focused on for the day. And yeah, we go from there. I'm building the rundown, which is pretty much the template of the show. We pretty much got a solid idea of what the lead story is going to be. Put that at the top. Who is the reporter going to be in the studio? Are they going to be live in the field? Are we just going to have a straight package? Like, we're thinking of all these little elements. Like, is this a new information story? Is this across Tennessee? Is this across Arkansas, Mississippi? We're thinking of all these little elements to put in, like all those little wipes and whoosh, and then all the little lowers you see. I'm writing all of those. I'm putting in all those animations, everything. And also just looking at, are there any like quick little things I can write? Like a good example was like yesterday I wrote a little story about Tennessee becoming the first state in the country to have a law to protect musicians from artificial intelligence.
Mm.
It's called the Elvis Act, I believe. So I just wrote like 30 seconds with some video over it, what it is, what it means, like just something for the anchor to read to give some pacing in between the reporters, and we call those pacers. So we're literally formatting every single story, putting it in order. Um, I'm doing that with another producer from about 3 p.m. to about 6:30. We're putting all those things in order, and we work really fast together. Like, we're definitely starting to get the swing of things, and it's two of us working on two shows, so things go by pretty quickly.
Right.
Yep, we after the 5 and 6 o'clock anchors finish their show, we all come and go in front of our the producer computer and talk about, all right, here's the order of the show, here's how it's going to look. You'll stand here for this story. This reporter will be here for this story. Also telling them what the stories are about. Like, we all have our task and stuff, so it's called a rundown review. Just giving them the rundown, and then we go eat. I don't know if it's lunch or dinner. I still don't know what to call it. Go eat. Like, take a step away from the computer. We like to be back by 7:38, depending on when we leave, and then that's when all the reporter stuff should be done for the most part. So we're putting in all their scripts. We're putting in the names of the people they interviewed and what time they come on camera. All those little bitty details. If there's breaking news, putting that in. And in this industry, some stuff we call killing stories. So we sometimes, I wrote this story at 3 o'clock, but now with timing, we got to take it out. Like, no hard feelings. We just have to meet the time. And so we're monitoring all those little things, the reporters, the timing, making sure graphics are all the right color, like all these so many little details. Like, my reporter friends are like, I could never do what you do. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. You're welcome. Whatever. So, yeah, we're doing that at 8:55 or 8:50. I'm in the booth, making sure everyone gets their mic checked. Making sure we're all good. All the videos are in time. All the scripts are good. And we finish the show at 9:30. We always have another meeting to see like what we like, what we don't like. Was it a clean show? Like, asking, why wasn't this graphic, cued at this time that it was supposed to be, or what happened to this person's mic? Was the audio good? Was the video good? Yeah, just making just critiquing, making sure we get all the discrepancies out. And I write them all out and we send them to all the managers. This is every day. And
Mhm.
yeah, make sure that, I give that all the reports back to the 10 o'clock producer, and she'll make sure that none of those mistakes are made in the 10. And then I get to go home.
Long typical day.
Things, so much multitasking and so
Yeah.
much small communication things. And with March Madness being in town and
Yes.
spring and all these events, like, is a big team effort, and I have to keep my eyes on many different things.
I know. Do you have time to like? And I'm sure it's hard, as you said. You can't watch the news, turn it off. Like as you said, can you? And I mean, I'm sure you can enjoy like something like a March Madness without saying, "Man, I got to do a production for the news station for this." But are you able to enjoy the March Madness? I want to talk a little bit about March Madness too, since it's it is here, and
Mm-hmm.
talk about a little bit of March Madness on both sides, the women's and the men's side.
Right.
Uh, can you even, like you said, unwind and be able to say, I gotta enjoy this. I'm trying to enjoy March Madness.
Yeah, we have a lot of TVs around the
Yeah,
newsroom.
right.
Some producers or some employees, they have a TV at their desk. I don't yet, but if I like get up and walk around, I'll stand at someone's desk and watch a little snippet of a game and be like, oh, Illinois needs to come back in the second half.
Yeah.
Oh, South Carolina's up by 50. What is happening? I get like little clips and snippets of
Yeah.
it, and um, pretty much all I've been like thinking about and focused on is March Madness. There are games in Memphis as we speak.
Okay.
So, how is that impacting the city, economically and, socially and safety wise. And
Yeah.
so I get a little bit like, sometimes if I feel like I've been sitting there too long and I've been writing scripts and doing all these things for so long, and I'm just feel like, a little writer's block or just a little stuck, I get up, go make me some tea, go talk to somebody, take a little lap, take 10 minutes and come right back in. I'll get back in it.
Yeah. You gotta get those when when you say when you have like a writer's block and stuff like that, gotta get that flowing again. So you're like, look, I gotta give him back, and I'll be back in about 15 minutes. I just need a little bit of time to get those creative juices flowing, and
Mm-hmm.
I totally get that. But yeah, let's transition to March Madness. As you said, it's in the city. You have to even look, like you said, about how it is affecting the city. Is it how people reacting and things like that?
Mm-hmm.
How, yes, when it's there in a city, in the city like that, how is the city reacting to having March Madness there?
It's definitely exciting to start on a positive note. People are flying in for this, and
Yeah.
no, unfortunately, the Memphis Tigers aren't in the tournament, but
Yeah.
it's still a lot of like good energy going on downtown. And it just so happens to also be Black Restaurant Week.
Oh
So
wow.
we're also promoting the restaurants that are participating. And we're like, hey, and while you're downtown after the game, go to these Black restaurants. We'll text you a link to all
Yeah.
the restaurants you can go to.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Right.
really fun, and I want to go just to see the space and the environment. And of course,
Right.
I had to leave Phoenix when Final Four comes to Phoenix. I was
I
so
Yes.
sad.
Right. Right. Right.
I was
But you guys had the Super Bowl last year there,
and the World Series.
and the World Series, yes, and the World Series. So I
And
mean,
also
it
the
was.
WNBA All Star Weekend. Their
So yeah,
Phoenix is thriving. It was what a time.
they're thriving big time. Like, and getting having Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns and Bradley Beal. So yeah, the Phoenix is doing okay.
But Memphis is really they're soaking it all in. No, we've been like crunching numbers of how much money is going to come in with people
Mhm.
staying and the tourism impact. And there's a lot of good historical things to see in Memphis, like good, lots of Black history, lots of music history, and lots of
Yes.
food history in this city. So there's definitely things for people to do while they're in town. And then you also got the mayor making sure that security, making sure, like there's a part, if you know Memphis, you've heard about Beale Street.
Yep.
people say, go at night, it gets a little rowdy, and so they're just, and obviously, if you're a tourist, you're going to Bill Street. Like, they don't know
Yeah.
any better. Like, it's honestly a pretty little strip of bars and restaurants. I'd go too if I didn't know
Lots of them.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, just making sure that they have a good safety plan for the weekend. Just making sure, things are smooth because anything can happen in the city on the weekend. So
Yeah.
it really is bringing more good than bad to the city. And as long as things are just smooth, and yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and like I was telling you before, we were in Memphis in the May with the international barbecue
Mm, mm,
competition, and I mean that was some good food, as you said. It was my wife, and my mother in law. We went for I think it was three or 4 days, and we were there. We went on Beale Street, and uh,
mhm.
and so we saw the scene, the scene of it, and it's like you said, it's like it's like a lot of different cities. You said you have your good and you have your bad. It's just like anywhere you go, anywhere.
Exactly.
I'm here in Philadelphia, and there's just certain areas and things like that where you said at night it gets a little rowdy, and during the day you just okay, that's where you need to be. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So I get it.
absolutely.
So all right, well, I just got a couple more. Like I said, I can talk to you for hours and hours on hours, but
Right?
I'm not gonna keep you too much longer on this weekend, Saturday afternoon. And thank you for adjusting the time. I know we were gonna do this earlier and everything. Got my car inspected, which I'm glad I went, even though it was raining and stuff, but we
Mm,
got that all situated.
mm,
So I'm glad thank you for doing that with the
mm.
schedule and everything too. But since it is Women's History Month, and I've been having a lot of great, incredible women on, including yourself, but I wanted to ask you. I've been asking all my guests, what does Women's History Month mean to you on a personal and professional level?
On a personal level, it really makes me happy to say that I'm 23 years old and I know my great grandmother.
Mm,
Not many people can say that at
that's
all.
true. Yeah.
And like we have so many like four generations photos, and I just really pride myself on having a strong relationship with all three of them, and just looking back and learning how all their lives were and then looking at mine, it's just like, how do I repay you
Mm,
for the sacrifices? And it just really I put this pressure on myself to just never disappoint them. And they'll tell me that it's really hard for me to do that. like, Janae, you've checked so many boxes. Like, you living in your truth, living your best life is the best thing that we could ever ask for. Now, one of my accomplishments, when I was in DC, I covered a Team USA event at the White House, like
wow.
2 days before I graduated. I was maybe 1,000 feet away from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Oh, wow.
And we made like a book for my great grandmother on like just her favorite events or like things about her life. Like,
Mm,
and there's a page or a chapter, and it says her two favorite memories, or family moments where something my cousin did. I think she met Kamala Harris, and they have a photo together, and me covering that White House event.
wow.
That's one of my granny's favorite events or memories, and I'm like, that's all. That's who I do this for. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
that's who I do this for. And I was raised by my mother and my grandparents, and seeing just being my mom's best friend. And I'm an only child, technically, like in the household. I have lots of half siblings, but like growing up, I lived just me and my mom mainly. So I understand the whole single mother narrative. But
Mm.
and now that I'm older and I see, like, oh, this was hard. Like, this was really, really hard. I don't know how you did it. No, I'm 23. She had me at 23. I'm like, what?
That's
How did, how did you do that?
yeah.
It really just makes me thankful for my life being easier than theirs. Like I just can't believe they went through so many things so I didn't have to. Like I only know the places not to go to in Chicago is because they lived in it. They're
Yeah,
like, yeah,
right.
we lived on these streets that your favorite rappers say, and we would never live there. Like, no, you would never live there, I should say. And if I even go over there, they're like, what are you doing over there? And I'm like, I have a friend there. And they're like, hmm.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
Like,
Right.
but yeah, they really made me, as they said, the strong, independent black woman, but also each generation has taught me to open up and be more vocal about when I'm not the strong, independent black woman, when I
Mm,
have a moment of weakness or a moment of vulnerability, to not shy away from it. Like, there's still some things they don't understand, like when it comes to like anxiety of the work, and they're like, no, they're working you hard in Memphis. And I'm like, no, this is just the life. Like it comes and goes, but no, I remember all the things you guys told me. If it gets too much, I definitely have the courage and strength to speak up when it's too much.
mm.
Yeah, shout out to all of the women in my family. I'm gonna name drop them, starting at the top. Gwendolyn, my granny. Then we got Julie, my grandmother, and then Dr. Akila Bradford, my mother. That is, she probably
Yes.
comments and shared the podcast. Like that is, my true best friend, my first best friend. So, and those women, I have lots of aunts and cousins that filled in a lot of void for me. So, yeah, shout out to all of them. And professionally, no, I love that March is March Madness and Women's History Month because you actually get to see like the women that have paved the way for why honestly the women's tournament is arguably bigger and more like there's
Oh yeah.
more attention around that tournament
Yes.
for the first time. And no, the women were just now able to use March Madness and call it theirs
Yeah.
within the last 2 years. It was like
2 years. Yeah. Two, three
yeah.
years.
How long has March Madness been going on?
So many years. So
I mean,
many years.
it just shows you how something has always been there, but when you just put a light on it, you see why that community has been sticking beside them this entire time. Like there have been some women college basketball fans. Like I live in Tennessee. Like on the other side of Tennessee, women's basketball is everything in
Everything.
Knoxville.
Yeah.
So I get it. Like we've been here, and I said a similar thing for Black History Month. I was like, no, the Women's History Month part, like I embrace it, but like you said in the beginning, like this is every day.
Yeah.
I'm proud to be a Black woman every day.
That's not gonna change. Right. That's not gonna
No,
change.
like,
You know? Yeah, right. Right.
and I really love how the sports part is just really being amplified even before March, and it's gonna just transition right into the WNBA season. Like this is going to be an amazing year for women's sports. Like every year moving forward is going to be amazing. And we have the game is in good hands for basketball and a bunch of other sports. Like people are talking more about gymnastics now and golf ball now and
Yep.
golf. I'm like, bring
Golf,
it.
volleyball, yeah, so much. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love it. And no, my newsroom, one of my bosses is a Black woman,
Mm.
and there's a lot of women in my newsroom. And no, I don't know how many people can say that. Like, I really don't know how many people can say that their boss at their newsroom is Black or a woman. I have both. It, it's
Right.
really beautiful, and I'm really grateful for like the communities like NABJ and the community I built at Howard and the NAB chapter at Arizona State, because it just really shows us that, like I said, we've been here, and as long as we just don't let the existence die, we'll always be here and we'll continue to grow.
I love that. And the interesting thing is, I can relate in a way of you said being raised by a single mother, because
Hmm.
I was the same thing. I was raised by my mother, my grandmother, and I've known my great grandmother too. I've known my great grandmother too when I was growing up. Now she passed away when I was 12, 13, so I was
Hmm.
young. But I mean, but I got a chance to, and I loved her. Yeah, I loved my great grandmother. So I was, yes, surrounded by strong black women, and they taught me how to, to respect women on all levels,
Mhm.
and that's why I try to have this platform. So many people ask, you highlight a lot of women. It's like, yeah, because it needed to be highlighted just more and more by us, the male counterparts, like
I
because
love
there's
it.
so much. I'm sure the things I can't relate to some of the things you go through being a woman, and as you say, a black woman too, of probably some of the negative comments, and I see it from a different from a lot of different things on social media. Some of the things that people say, I'm thinking, why in the world? Because they wouldn't want their mothers to be disrespected like that. So why are they
Her
still
daughters, yeah.
supporting their daughters, things like that? They'll be able to, So yes, so I really commend and respect what you do. That's why, like I said, I'm trying to do this series more often, not even just on the month, but just to highlight
Mhm.
so many incredible women in all areas of life. So again, I appreciate that we've connected on on social media, and really, I mean, our last conversation, even this one, just we just hit it off, and I really enjoy what you're doing, and and beyond, even not even just a news producer, but just being a, like I said, a strong black woman in this industry, but just really trying to make a mark, and making a mark of what you're doing, making history. So that's what it's about.
Yes, and I really appreciate. I said that at the start of our first podcast together. I was just like, I love how much love and energy you pour into women and what they do, sports or not. So I'm always gonna, give you a round of applause for that. And one thing I've been thinking that I've never really said out loud, so this is gonna be good. Like I keep saying I'm only 23, and I grew up as an only child, and I just never really realized how many people are watching me. And
Mm.
when like you asked me to do the podcast, I was like, women's history. Like I almost sat down and said, have I made history?
You're
Like
making it.
I'm,
Yes.
I'm history in the making.
Yeah, right.
And to
Yes.
say the least, like I just really was like, no, he invited me on at this time, at this place in my life for a reason. And sometimes with this industry, things move so fast. Like within
Yeah.
a month, I moved across the country again and started a job and walked across the stage. I did that in a month.
Yes.
And it took a lot for me to sit down and and sometimes I just have to stare at my diplomas or degrees sometimes. Like,
Take it all in. Yeah.
and yeah, like I'm still haven't realized the impact that I've left on all the spaces that I've been to, like with the NABJ chapter in Arizona State. Like we got it starting last semester, and the things they're doing now are amazing. The
Yeah.
Howard Women's bowling team. I was so worried how things were going to look for the ladies when we all left, because there was a lot of us graduating. Now they're in the second round of the MEAC, championships, and I'm just like, good. I'm glad like we still found some girls that love this team, love this sport, and seeing the my younger family members looking at me, even older family members looking up to me, and I'm like, I never take a minute to just look at what I'm doing. And so I encourage some you women that think you're not doing enough, and no, you think you're behind on something. You're not. You're just on time.
Just
Things
on time.
things are coming, and people are watching you and admiring you from a distance. So just keep being you, and no, don't be anyone else.
No, yeah, right, and that's what I mean. Yes, because I think that's what it is. You don't know who is watching you, or really watching how you are moving your career and things like that. And you're making an impact. You're making an impact that you might not even know. There's some young girls, black girls, there's young girls that could be looking up to you and said, Janae did this. She actually graduated, moved from a different state to another, and and now is doing what she loves to do as a producer and everything else. So you just don't know who's watching. the platforms you have, and you have to take advantage of those things and those opportunities. And even if it's just one person that like you put an impact on them, I think it's you're making history. So you're making history. Like I said, I appreciated uh, our conversations and even talking outside of this. That's why I say your podcast family now. And but I'm glad that you said you took the time to conversate. You took time to want to do the show, be on the show. So I truly, really I honor that pretty much. So I appreciate that really much.
Thank
So
you,
much.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Well, Janae, it's been great catching up with you. We got to do this again, maybe in the middle of the season with the WNBA. Because I know we were just talking about I'm a huge fan. I mean, I'm a huge fan of women's sports in general, but WNBA. There's something I've been watching WNBA since the beginning. So I'm a little older than you. I'll just say a little, but I am a little older than you. But I've been watching the W. My wife loves the W. I mean, from when they first started in 97, 97. And was used to comments and then just the original 8 of teams, the Sparks. So, but going back to that, it's the WNBA is like I said, it's gonna be a tremendous season, tremendous year, a lot of great talent coming into the W. I'm trying to get that credentials again to cover the draft. So I'm just waiting for that opportunity because it's in New York and I'm only a couple hours away. So I was there last year, got a little bit of coverage, but now I'm trying to really get that credential, really be in. I mean, it's a big year. It's a big year just for the W itself, but I'm looking forward to that opportunity. But let everyone know where they can actually follow you. Again, follow you making women's history, making history in general, but let you know where they can follow you and watch or reach out to you on social media.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. My name's gonna show on the podcast.
Yeah, it's in the show too. Yes.
Type that in, Janae Bradford, straight through. That's my Instagram. I believe my ex name is Janae Bradford 7. And if you want to watch my work, download the ABC 24 app. Tune in at 9:00 Central Time and 10:00. And watch the newscast that I produced.
Yeah. And then sometimes you're in front of the camera too, right? Sometimes
No, they won't.
Stay behind.
I stay. But
okay.
I'm never gonna cancel out that idea. I say that all the time. Like, I am a producer, but lo and behold, if someone needs me in front of a camera, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Yes. Well, again, you're doing, like I said, you're doing excellent work, and you said those couple months you made that move, and now, like I said, you're already producing. Even they say by title, assistant producer, you are producer for that newscast. So I appreciate you. I thank you again for the time, and happy Women's History Month each and every day, not even just in the month of March, but every day. So it's tremendous to see you just keep progressing, keep growing, and you said we're always learning each and every day, trying to get better at what we do. So I appreciate it, and thank you again.
Yes, thank you so much. I can't wait for us to do this again. Really,
yes, we will. We sure will. All right. Well, you enjoy the weekend, and I will talk to you soon. And until next time, everyone, follow the shows. Follow Janae again on all social media platforms. And until next time, peace and thank you for watching. And God bless.
Thank you. God bless you.